If you want to check out what my 5 top picks are for bronzers, then please keep on watching. Hello my friends, my name is Lisa. If it's your first time here, thank you so much for clicking. Kinky Sweat stands for my kinky hair and sweat life. I'm a fitness professional who loves movement and beauty, and I'm sorry my voice is a little low. I just got finished teaching 3 classes today, sharing my energy and encouraging those who attend my class to move to their potential and break through barriers. So I am fine, my mood is fine, but usually after 3 classes my octaves drop a little bit. Today we're going over my top 5 bronzers. I was inspired to do this after my top 5 Pat McGrath eyeshadow palette video. I will link it up and down below. I think I might do a top 5 with a lot of makeup categories, including brushes. I wanted to do that today, but that needed a little more thinking because I didn't want to get on here and make rash decisions because it's a very important video to make. This was also tough to make because I love bronzers and I love them all. So to rank them 5 to 1 was a little difficult, but we're gonna do it. So all the bronzers I will present here on this list are on my channel, whether it's a review or a roundup or a demo, maybe except one, but I don't think we need a dedicated video for that pick, but let me know if you still want it. It's fine. The number 5 top bronzer pick is the Natasha Denona Tan Bronze and Glow face palette. I think we were all pleasantly surprised to discover that this shade of bronze actually does well to shades up to NC50. Nalini's video is the one that you had recommended that I watch, and she is NC50, and this shade showed up beautifully on her. It's just a very unique tone of bronze. It's rosy and bronze. It serves as a bronzer and a blush color. I know it's a palette and it's not like a one pan bronze product, but I feel the overall design and shade selection in this palette just offers up that beautiful bronze glow experience. In addition to the bronzer shade, you have the cream product here that's covered with the plastic, so you use it on the cheekbones and then you drop into your super glow powder, which is a cream to powder formula. It's just beautifully smooth. It looks outrageously beautiful on the skin, and then you top it all off with your extreme glow powder. So it's just a beautiful arrangement of color. I think this texture is just phenomenal. It's smooth, it looks like skin. Many people from medium to light feel it's too dark, but some with light medium feel it's just fine. You have to find the right brush and you have to find the right application technique. What I find beautiful about this shade is that you just put it all over, and it's one of those things where you don't need a blush. You just put it on the hollows of your cheekbones and some very lightly on your cheeks, like whatever leftover you have from your brush. I can't say that today. Brush on the temples and down the jawline, and it's just a beautiful shade. So definitely has been in my heavy rotation ever since I purchased it. The light changing today is, again, just one of those things, but it's not as bad as like we're in Maddie's house. Number 4 spot. This was tough. Let me refer to my list because I have all these written down. I had to include this on the list because it was one of those products that I least expected to just love so much. Maybe you know, maybe you don't, but it is, yes, the Becca, Chloe, and Malika. What is this? The official name is the Becca BFS Bronze Blush and Glow Palette. This was on sale for I think $27.50. The original price was maybe $44. I didn't buy this when it first released. I waited and I was like, you don't need it, you don't need it. But when it went down to that price, I mean, it was hard to not pick it up. I was shocked, completely shocked with how much I loved the bronze shade. This is the Malika palette. The Chloe palette, I think these palettes liken to the Charlotte Tilbury palettes that have the bronze, the blush, and the highlighter powder. Now, big surprise, Charlotte's not in here. I know. The reason why Charlotte is not in this list is because I was just surprised because I knew I was gonna love that palette. It's Charlotte Tilbury. Yeah, she has some misses, but mostly they're hits, you know? I wasn't expecting to love this palette the way that I do. It is just so gorgeous. This bronzer shade, I don't know what it is, the tone, the texture is just so skin-like. Although they do feel like powder, They're a very smooth type of powder. I think these are like baked because the way they are in the pan is not your typical just pressed flat powder. But my favorite part in this palette are the two blushes. At first I wasn't crazy about them because I wasn't using the right brush. I've been using my G Face Bro. I just tap into both shades and I just take it on the cheekbones. That's not, my face anatomy is really off today. Apples of the cheeks, and just look how that livens up the face. It gives the face color. It's not overwhelming. I use the same brush for both the blushes and the bronzer, and the highlighter shade is simply divine. It's so easy to use. These textures are foolproof, and again, I was pleasantly surprised with how much I love this palette, how easy it is to work with, how convenient it is. When I travel, it's the only one I take, and I'm good with just having those shades on hand. I'm good with just having that bronzer and blush. I don't need to pack any other bronzer and blush because yeah, I like options, but these options are so great that I'm good with just having the palette on hand. And again, the texture is so skin-like that it just gives you a really beautiful glow. So the powders are not flat, they're not shimmery, and I dare say they are a little satin, so they don't have shimmer, but they just liven up the texture of your skin. They don't look flat on your skin, and it really just livens up the planes of your face. And again, the tones are just so beautiful in that palette that I've been using it nonstop, and I'm always so excited to use it because I know it's gonna be just smooth sailing with my complexion that day. So I had to give it a spot on the top 5 list for bronzers. And I know it's a face palette, but I feel both the blushes and the highlighter contribute to that overall beautiful bronzing experience, so that's why I included it. Thank you so much. Number 3. Listen, we are mad at them because they took so long to come out with other shades, but at least when they came out with the shades, I felt that they nailed it. We could comment down below. Let's just please discuss politely about it. I had to give the number 3 spot to Benefit's Hula Caramel. This shade, I would say this is probably the most yellow out of the bunch. And you're like, ooh, jaundice? No, it's a golden yellow that I feel, you know, I don't know what it does. When it gets on the skin, it is simply magnificent. Like this shade of bronze, it looks light here on the swatch because I really didn't. That's why I hate this freaking packaging. If there's anything about a con about this bronzer, it's just this box packaging, which I just feel they should just get rid of. Put the bamboo on the front of the flat palette, you know what I mean? Just redesign it, why don't you? I just absolutely love the tone of Hula Caramel. I combine it with my other bronzers. I love how it looks on its own. It just sculpts so beautifully, again, without being too gray or too cool tone. And again, the yellow golden undertone of this shade, I just loves how it hugs my features and just gives it that golden hue. I mean, it is absolutely gorgeous. I layer this on. I don't know if you want to see this in action, but I feel like I need more bronzer, so I'm just gonna put it on. Blends so beautifully into the skin. I love the texture of this powder. It is matte, but it doesn't look flat. I feel it just blends beautifully into the skin. But if you don't like any type of shimmer or any type of satin finish like the Becca powders, for instance, you can definitely rely on this texture, on this finish to be completely matte if you don't want any shine on the face. But I just love the tone of this bronzer, so it had to be on this list. I was pleasantly surprised to see that Benefit was finally extending their shade range in the Hula line. It was about time. I mean, it was like over a decade, I think, but they nailed it. A lot of people like toasted, some people don't. I get it, but in terms of like the medium tan part of the skin spectrum, caramel is just outrageously beautiful. I keep using this. I rotate it heavily with my other bronzers. I layer it under, I layer it over. It is a hit for me and I can't stop using it. I really hope they do add more shades to their range. I hope they change the box packaging, but as of now, Hula Caramel is definitely must for the top 5 list. Number 2 was hard, and I apologize in advance that I don't have any drugstore bronzers on this list. I'm working on it. If you have any drugstore suggestions down below that you think that I would love from what you've already seen on my channel, please let me know. I could have done Charlotte's Lovegasm palette, and I could have put it here. I could have put it in the list, but I had to include a bronzer that is just so outrageously expensive and extra. I just couldn't help myself. It was between this and another designer bronzer. Not that I don't love them, but I can't have everyone in the top 5. I have to give it to the Marc Jacobs. I know this is the newer shade, the 106 Tantalize. That again, we wish that Mr. Marky Mark will come out with more shades and not wait a year to release another shade. This is deeper than their Tantric and their Tantastic. I believe the Tantastic that also released in this white packaging was a very neutral brown tone that a lot of lighter to medium skin tones loved, because that's why they love going back to the Benefit Hoola. That's why they love that shade, because it was very matte and very brown. It didn't look orange. I like to look a little orange. I mean, not like Oompa Loompa orange, but I like that warm. This is definitely more of like a red type of a gig. It's not completely warm, but I just find it lends itself to be so beautifully like tan. Like, if you want to look like you got a tan, you tap into this. I love the texture of the powder. Again, like the Hoola Caramel, it's matte. It doesn't have any sheen in it. It's just a beautiful texture. It's just so smooth. I just love the tone. It's so beautiful, so easy to work with. I layer this over the Charlotte Tilbury bronzer shade in her Lovegasm face palette, and it is a good combination, because sometimes when you wear makeup for a long time, like myself in fitness and teaching, not that I sweat so much in the face, but just being in a hot room, or not even like the temperature's turned up, but people are in and they're exercising, and I feel that climate kind of affects the longevity of my makeup. It helps when I layer different powders, so that when the first layer starts to fade, I got the layer underneath to kind of hold it together. And when I do that with different bronzer shades, it just makes for a beautiful overall complexion that I just have been loving, layering all the bronzers that I've mentioned so far. But this shade, it's just so gorgeous. I freaking love it. It's like a reddish type of, you know what I mean? I'm putting way too much bronzer on, but you know, it's for the video. I have a review on this bronzer, a demo, everything. If you want to see close-up shots, swatches, so that's why I'm not doing all that in this video, because I have the videos already, friends. It's just, I love this shade. So, you know, we're gonna buff it down because I look a little crazy. Again, I just appreciate the texture of this powder, the tone of it. It definitely lends itself to be like the sunburnt bronzy look that I love. And I'm trying not to say the word sunburnt anymore, because we're trying to like not get sunburnt by this. So sun-kissed. When you are sun-kissed and is a little red but you're still brown, that's, I feel, what this gives you. And that's why I'm just a huge fan of it. And also the packaging, this is such a huge mirror, and I feel just lends itself to be a perfect mirror for on-the-go touch-ups. Or if you're traveling, this is going to be your mainstay mirror to do your whole makeup in. So I cannot get over how beautiful this bronzer is. I've been using it nonstop ever since I purchased it. And yeah, can't live without it. That brings us to our #1 spot. Any of these could have taken it, but I chose this one because of the texture, the range, the packaging, and just the overall true bronzing experience this product has lent me. And it has to be no other than, I think you know, the Fenty Beauty Sun Stalk'r Bronzing Powders. First of all, sleek, beautiful packaging that's just easy to take with you. I take one of these with me every day to touch up my bronzer if I have to reapply my sunscreen. I just love the copper rose gold metallic finish on the compact. I have 3 shades actually. The 2 big ones I have are Island Ting and Beige and Gal, and the smaller one I have Caramel Cutie from the duo set that came with the shimmer stick. Any of these could have been #1, but again, you can't pass this experience up. I feel these textured powders, they blend themselves. They practically blend themselves. You can't get any easier an application than from the Fenty bronzers, I feel. Some people do think they're too light. I use natural hair brushes, and natural hair bristles are going to pick up more product than a synthetic brush will. Grammar, are you present? So you might have to layer if you're using a synthetic brush, but I don't have any problems, again, using my Sonaji Face Pro or even my Tuckahoe brushes, my Wayne brushes, any brush that I have this natural hair. They deposit the powder so beautifully. I literally sometimes just tap the bronzer powder, the Fenty one, where I need it to go, and it just spreads and distributes in the way that I can explain. It gets on the skin and it does the job. It doesn't need any extra finessing, any over manipulation. It just does the job, and that's why I had to give it the #1 spot, because it's so easy to travel with. The shades are great. People are mad because they felt that I agree that they didn't go as deep as people expected. The deepest shade, Mocha Mami, is very red toned, and I think they need another one that's just more neutral in tone but deeper, so it could show up on much richer skin tones and not just appear like a red blush, because ultimately we want all skin tones to experience a role of a blush bronzer that's going to add dimension to your face, liven it up, but not so much carve it out and sculpt it like a contour powder does. And Mocha Mami is a beautiful blush shade. It definitely brings life to the complexion if you are deeper in skin tone, but it doesn't have the same effect like the lighter skin tones experience using a bronzer. So I think they have to extend that for sure. So hopefully they do that soon. As far as the shades they have already, these are phenomenal. There's nothing more I can say. I mean, these are great bronzers, amazing formula, beyond easy to use. I love the shades. I love the tone. If anything, Island Ting is very similar to Hula Caramel in terms of undertone. I would say they're more yellow golden in terms of tone, and Beige Gal I feel is a little more red undertone, and I feel it matches up with the Marc Jacobs Tantalize, if I'm not mistaken. So these are very similar. The Beige Gal looks a little more orange. If you want to see quickly, I need more arm space. So here's Beige Gal, and here is the Marc. I feel they're kind of similar. Like the Marc looks significantly more neutral next to Beige Gal, but that's why I like Beige Gal, because it just offers up like that true warm bronzing experience. And I sometimes like to go a little warm, you know, I like to go a little warm depending on the day. I like to switch it up. That's why I love having several favorites, especially in the bronzing collection, because I don't know if you noticed, but I'm addicted to bronzer. One of those makeup items that I just can't stop buying, because you are always on the search for the one, and it could be anything, but you need to buy to figure it out. And that's why I feel that I have a ton of bronzers, but because I have like these strong 5, I'm good. I rotate amongst these again. I layer them. They are phenomenal. I could not be happier with the current bronzer situation going on in my makeup collection, so that's why I had to curate it, give you my favorite. Let me know what your favorites are down below. You can rank them, you cannot. Maybe you don't have 5 favorites like me because I'm nuts. Maybe it's just one. Let me know what that one is, and until then, that's a wrap. Thank you all so much for watching. I hope this video helped. And if you like this video, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel. And until then, I'll see you on here again with another review, top 5 list, or 3-look video. Take care, and I'll see you again soon.